lahko vsi domov. Pozdravljeni na petem Cryptopartiju oziroma Cryptoparty Slovenija eventu, kar pomeni, da smo jih naredili že 5 oziroma delamo zdaj 5. in upamo, da bo šlo vse tako po planu, kot so šli ta prvi 4. Razlog, da vas je toliko tle, očitno nekaj prav delamo, ker vas je vsak let več tle oziroma je vsak let večja gužva, kar jemljem kot izredno pohvalo oziroma razumevanje, da so vam take zadeve všeč in da radi hodite na to in da boste naslednje let še prišli. Moje ime je Domen, prihajam iz Zavoda Državljan D. Državljan D je organizator Cryptopartija, ukvarjamo se z digitalnimi pravicami, medijsko pismenostjo in aktivnim državljanstvom, mogoče ste nas srečali na internetu ali pa nas poznate z televizije. Ker vidim, da par ljudi še prihaja, vsi morate imeti na koncu eventa oziroma do konca prvega predavanja en listek številko gor. Ta številka pomeni, da ste se strinjali, da vam vzamemo vse osebne podatke in jih prodamo v Googlu, sej ne. Uporabili jih bomo za žrebanje nagrad. Nagrad je letos ful, tako da se res splača dvigati roko in dobiti številko in potem počakati do konca dogodka za žrebanje. Tako, ja, kar držite malo, tako, vaje dela mojstra. Tako, danes imamo za razliko od prejšnjih kriptopartijev 5 tokov in nobene okrogle mize, ker je to zdaj modern oziroma tukaj ni placa za okroglo mizo. Sponzorji eventa so 3FS, Zemanta, Žabecnet in Krea Plus. Brez njih tega eventa ne bi bilo. Pomaga nam tudi v živo za tiste, ki pač niste tukaj, ampak gledate od doma. Zdaj pa po moje najboljše, da kar začnemo oziroma da pokličemo na oder prvega gosta. Jezik današnjega eventa je angleščina in slovenščina, tako da upam, da ne boste preveč šokirani, simultanega prevajanja ni. Po koncu uradnega dela bodo vsi ostali še tukaj, tako da ne iti takoj domov, oziroma dajmo se malo podružiti, oziroma dajmo se potem še v neformalnem delu pogovarjati o stvarih, o katerih bomo govorili v uradnem delu. So, I would like to welcome our first speaker. He's coming from London, from an NGO called Privacy International, or as they say in English, Privacy International. His name is Edin Omanovic, and he'll be talking about outsourcing state surveillance. Why is this happening and why is it so bad? So please welcome Edin.
Thank you, Domen. So it's that one there to go. Perfect. Okay, thanks, Domen, and thanks for having us. So I want us to imagine, if you can, this might be somewhat difficult, that you live in a world where there's one strong empire, and at the head of that empire, there's a very authoritarian head. He's at war with the Senate. He's a member of the super elite, but he's a political outsider. And he's at war with the Senate principally because he wants to build a wall. So this was... Oh. Move over there, control. So this was Hadrian in AD 122, and this was his wall which separated Scotland from England, and it was 80 miles long. And to quote a biography of Hadrian at the time, he was a good guy who'd done many good things, and the first to build a wall 80 miles long from sea to sea to separate the barbarians from the Romans. So this wall still stands today, and you can go and visit it. A part of it was about keeping people out, but it was also about controlling what came into the empire itself, and specifically about controlling who came into the empire itself. And ever since then, this kind of control has happened. Empires have been looking to control people's movements, but also people inside their realms also. But for that, what you need is technologies of control. And in order for somebody to keep those people under control, what you need is allies, and what you need is clients who are able to facilitate that level of control over people. And this is what's known as divide and rule. The principal strategy of empire has been practiced ever since the Roman times and by all empires since. And even the British, who learnt from divide and rule across their empire wherever they went. So for example, in South Asia, where they had client states, in Afghanistan, where they would install leaders, they would then give them military power, give them security assistance, give them intelligence to be able to keep control of that region for their own interest. This had nothing to do about making sure that people in those countries were getting on well. It had all to do with preserving the interests of the imperial state. And really powerful countries are still doing this to this day, but they're doing it principally by exporting surveillance and by exporting infrastructures of surveillance and control around the world. So what we have today is a situation where powerful countries, China, Russia, US, and all across Europe, are training, financing, and equipping foreign countries around the world to conduct surveillance. So obviously this is a common practice, and that's been going on ever. Following colonization, what you had was the Cold War and in proxy wars. So you had principally two main powers rivaling against each other and using different countries for their own ends. So you had the Soviets and then the NATO countries. So in places like Afghanistan, they would equip, train and finance their own leaders within those countries and through proxy wars, and this would happen along the world. This had not very much to do with democracy or things like facilitating human rights, but it was a zero-sum game. So any kind of loss for yourself was a gain for the other side, and any gain for yourself was a loss for the other side. And that led to principally military assistance, so arms, weapons going to other client states around the world. So following the Cold War, we then had the spectre of the war on terror. And this coincided with the mass rollout of the internet, of mobile phones, of internet-enabled technologies, which also brought everything that we rely upon today that's good, but also lots of methods of political control that can be gained from using surveillance for political control practices. So before 2001, before the 11 September bombings, the US spent something like $5 billion a year on security aid, so giving aid to police or intelligence agencies in order to do their job. In 2017, they spent over $20 billion around the world for those purposes. And what you had was you had complex regional power dynamics, complex local wars, where the US, other countries would go into and then essentially train, equip forces for whatever their own ends in terms of the war on terror. So in Afghanistan, for example, the US paid for and run the lawful interception network in Afghanistan and in other countries around the world also. So I would say where we are now is we're almost moving into a new era where the concern of terrorism, however important, is almost being usurped by the concern of migration and immigration to Europe and to the US and to other countries. But this is, I think, especially true in Europe with the migration crisis in 2015, where you've seen a whole load of European equipment and financing to other countries around the world for surveillance. So to take one fund specifically, you have the EU Trust Fund, which was set up during the migration crisis in 2015, which has spent over 3.3 billion euros on capacity building foreign security forces and on providing surveillance. So for example, there's 170 programs across Africa, including a program which is spending 28 million on setting up Senegal's biometric ID system, which will be rolled out nationwide. 15 million to establish cyber specialists, criminal analysts and forensic specialists for conducting online investigations and for doing forensic analysis of mobile devices, and 55 million for training Tunisia and Moroccan security services in digital biometrics, aerial surveillance and other surveillance techniques. And really the same situation is happening in the US. So for example, of the over $1 billion they spent on providing bilateral aid to Central America, 70% of it was spent on border control and security for the region. So, for example, 88 million went to the Mexican immigration authorities to be able to collect biometric data on immigrants as they pass through Mexico, which is then shared with US immigration authorities, and for setting up a monitoring center in Mexico, which is capable of intercepting landlines and internet communications in a monitoring center, which is run by a US-Israeli surveillance company called Verint. Aside from the law enforcement side, one of the Snowden documents revealed a program known as Rampart A, which essentially meant that the intelligence agency in the US, the NSA, has relationships with foreign intelligence agencies whereby they would provide internet DPI equipment to those agencies capable of intercepting internet comms, provide the equipment, provide the training, provide the money which is used for that, which then that local country could use for their own surveillance purposes, but which would then also be shared with US intelligence agencies. And you've seen a number of these programs in and around the world, which are run by the US NSA and also with British and other intelligence agencies. So, like, I think really, when I talk about this quite often, people say, what are some of the problems with this and what's the big deal, really? And I think, obviously, there is surveillance which is used against pedophiles and terrorists, which is the way I think a lot of people conceptualize it, but there's also surveillance in how it's used and applied in the real world. So, for example, in Mexico last year, we found out that the Mexican authorities were using commercial surveillance technology to target scientists, activists and journalists, and even relatives of their families who were investigating the activities of the security forces there. It contributes to a broader movement which is moving away from democratization and things like valuing human rights and basically putting more value on contributing towards the fight against terrorism or for controlling migration away from fundamental values. So, for example, the EU, which puts a lot of emphasis on fundamental rights and human rights, is basically being replaced by giving money and assistance to anyone who's willing to cooperate in controlling migration. So, and also, for example, research done by Oxfam showed that over 80% of the funds for the EU Trust Fund, which is supplying surveillance technology around the world, is financed by EU development aid, which essentially means that any kind of EU aid that's provided is directly being used for surveillance, which could also be used for development projects such like providing healthcare or education. And the big concern is that despite this, the next EU budget is principally aimed, and one of the biggest concerns about it, one of the main points of it, is controlling migration. So this week, the EU Council met with the League of Arab States to sign agreements, basically meaning that those countries will cooperate in EU's counter-migration policies. One of the biggest areas of the EU budget, which will be decided this year and early next year, is more expenditure on controlling migration and working with third parties, so third countries, giving them surveillance capabilities, doing capacity building, training them in how to conduct surveillance. So, for example, the Border Control and Migration Fund will be increased by over 2.5 times in the next budget, and this is to be decided later this year. The problems specifically within the EU and what can be done about it, we've got a campaign at the moment where we're trying to make sure that the next EU budget actually values human rights and won't just be spent on surveillance, that money that could be spent on schools. So, for example, making sure that surveillance that is enabled in third countries is done in accordance with law. So, for example, having decent legal frameworks in the country where you're sending surveillance equipment to that could be used to govern surveillance within those countries. Making sure that there's sufficient vetting in place and risk assessment. So, for example, in Sudan, Bashir is using agents of the Janjaweed, which were responsible for the genocide in Darfur, within his border control agency. So it should not be the case that European funds are being given to people who have been implicated in genocide around the world. And what you also want to see is democratic control over the expenditure. So making sure there's transparency over it, making sure you know what equipment is being provided, making sure you know what training is being provided, and then making sure there's auditing and reporting on those kinds of activities which are going on. And so I think there's two things that are driving it. One is obviously the rise of nationalist and populist governments around the world, but also centrist and even left-leaning people who are concerned about migration and concerned that not giving in to right-wing populist narratives around migration will essentially mean that Europe moves rightwards. However, what you're failing to see is any kind of real movement because of that. So by buying into the right wing's narrative and need to control migration, basically what you're doing is giving in to that, and you'll never be able to win without providing a sufficient narrative over it. So Clinton here is claiming that Europe needs to do more to fight migration. but she herself lost by campaigning the same strategy against Trump. And basically, by buying that narrative, you'll never be able to defeat them. And whilst you're at the same time entrenching authoritarianism, killing internet freedom around the world, and also enabling human rights abuses, which are the very things that are driving migration around the world, and the very thing which will make sure that it doesn't end in the first place. And so that's really one of the reasons why we have this campaign, and why I think it's really important that everyone over the next year, whilst the EU budget is being decided, takes notice and takes care and campaigns on it. Any questions? Do you want questions now, Damon?
There's a mic for... It should work. So just raise your hand if you have a question and I'll bring you the mic so we'll hear each other better. Okay? No questions?
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Eden. Before you go, since we have a lot of rewards for the visitors, we've decided to vote them, to pick them, to draw them during the presentations. So if anybody doesn't have like a little piece of paper with a number on it, just raise your hands and hold it up till you get the paper. It's going to take a little while because there's a lot of you, but if you don't have the paper, you can't win anything. Okay, yeah. In between, you can think of a question for Eden. Yeah, okay.
Hi. Previously, you mentioned that there is a democratic control over expenditures, and could you elaborate upon how the democratic control actually looks like? What does that mean?
So I think it's about being a lot more transparent about the kind of, so at the moment when you look through the auditing reports, it will say stuff like providing capacity building to that service. So you'd want to see committees within the parliament having access to the actual documentations, what specific equipment is being provided and specifically to who, and then having those audit reports available to the public and basically allowing the public to see what they are and before that expenditure is given to those countries, which at the moment doesn't exist.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more questions in the back? Yeah. Okay.
So, if I understand correctly, the EU and US are supplying a lot of surveillance equipment, but as far as I know, they were also like US was supplying military equipment to Afghanistan, and then those people were just using their equipment now. When they were fighting Russians, US was supplying the guns, and now those guys are using the guns to shoot Americans there. So, do they have like any idea if they will start using these countries or selling this equipment back to these countries in Europe and US to do the surveillance here?
So not sell it because it's in use in that country, but that phenomenon, which is known as blowback, essentially happened a lot to a lot of the countries where the US and other countries were providing assistance. So for example, the UK sells the United Arab Emirates a mass internet surveillance system and lots of other surveillance technology. And last year we had a UK academic who went to the UAE, who was arrested by the UAE intelligence agency, who had extracted information from his mobile phone and basically read it out to him during interrogation. So it could well be that surveillance equipment provided by the UK to the United Arab Emirates is being used on UK citizens abroad.
Any other questions? Okay. Do you all have a piece of paper? Okay. So this is how we do it. Hold on. Okay. She's insane, sir. Okay. Now. Okay, so I push the first number and Eden's going to push the second one. So the first number is 53. Yeah? Really? Okay, congratulations. Yeah, I mean, come on up, come on up. It's not, I mean, I thought you were joking. Yes, congratulations. Let me just pick a reward for you. Here you go. Thanks for visiting.
We got told if we were presenting, we weren't allowed to pick it.
And now you just click.
Press.
Okay, 124. Oh, wait, this is... It should work. It's completely random, meaning it doesn't work. Wait. Okay, 13. There's no 13? Sure it is. Nobody has the 13. Or he or she doesn't want an award. Okay? We'll try one more. $74? Yeah, 74? Yeah? Okay, come on up. You can applaud to make her run faster. There you go. Congratulations. Okay, these are the two rewards from Eden. Thanks again. We'll introduce our next speaker. She's coming from Brussels, from EDRI. Her name is Andrea Belou. She was supposed to be here last year. No, she'll explain the story. She's going to talk about a different subject. Let me just open her presentation. Is it PDF 2? No? This one? Okay. Sure. Hold on. It should work. Can you bring the USB and we'll copy it again? Just bring the USB. Okay. No, it should work.
It's a trick, it's a trick.
Yeah, it's a trap. It doesn't work. What? Okay. I mean, can we fix it?
Yeah, I think so. If I can get my computer.
Okay. Okay. We'll change the the routing schedule a bit. So instead of Andrea talking about content regulation, we'll have our next speaker come up, and we'll try and fix her presentation. So the next speaker is Aiden Ferdeline from Berlin. His presentation works because it's in PDF. Hold on. No, it should work. Yes. There we go. So Aiden is coming from Berlin. He's representing Mozilla Foundation, and when we've discussed the things that he should talk about, we basically said, I basically asked him a question: can we preempt the next personal data Titanic? And this is his answer. So
Take it away. Just take this. Hi. I hope so, is the quick answer to that comment. But I hope that you're ready to talk about something a little dirty, a little salacious perhaps. I hope that you're ready to gossip. My name is Aidan Ferdleen. I am a tech policy fellow with the Mozilla Foundation. And in addition to researching privacy and data protection, I also like to gossip at times. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to be gossiping about those third parties who harvest our personal information, who weaponize it against us, who use our personal information in ways that are problematic. And we're going to gossip about some solutions. And the solution that I'm going to talk about later is what is called information fiduciaries. Sorry. So I hope you can hear me. Let's go to the next slide. We might not use the slides because we don't particularly need them. So,
just click once.
Does this work? No, I think I'm not going to be able to work out how to use this complicated device. You don't need them. Okay, so where I was going to go with this was I was going to say why now is the right time for us to be speaking about privacy issues. And it wasn't the right time a few years ago. Several years ago, if we tried to have this same conversation, it sounded like science fiction. It sounded like something out of George Orwell's 1984. But the situation is a little different now. Uber had a catastrophic data breach and tried to cover it up. Equifax lost the records and personal information of 147 million people. And then, of course, there's Facebook. There is how Facebook's API was used to potentially influence how people voted in elections. These are so clearly problematic. I don't need to tell you about that. But if I can move to the next slide. But as our world is changing, as the internet evolves, there is something that hasn't changed, and that is how we operationalize privacy protections online. So at the moment, we use this light touch regulatory tool from the 1980s called notice and consent. And the idea behind it is super simple. If I tell you how I would like to use your data, you can tell me if that's okay, what constraints must be put in place, or you can of course say that I can't use it. But we all know that this does not actually succeed in protecting privacy. Or at least I think that's the case. So I'll do a quick poll of this room, if that's okay. Could you raise your hand, please, if you have read a privacy policy before? Okay, that's great. We have a few people who are engaged. And has anyone read a privacy policy before and found anything problematic within it? Okay, I'm glad, right? At least. But I mean, have you read a privacy policy before, found something problematic within it, and then felt like you were in a position to be able to negotiate an exemption or some kind of opt-out, or did you feel like you were really in a position to be able to change that contract that you were entering into? No, okay. And so just for the benefit of those who are not in the room, I didn't see any hands raised, but sometimes people are shy. But what I can take away from that is that even within this room where I think we possibly have an above average level of awareness of why privacy matters, of why it is important to safeguard our personal information, even in this room we feel relatively powerless to be able to control how our personal information is used, and that is problematic. And it's revealing. And so if the current approach is broken, if now is the moment to fix it, or at least now is a moment when we have some political will around the world to attempt to fix some of the obvious issues that we see, how do we go about it? And that, of course, is not, all of these slides that I'm forgetting to use. So how do we go about it? Broadly, there are two approaches that we can use: rules, like regulations, tools, like technology. But what I think we need to get away from is this idea that notice and consent, the tool that we have used since the 1980s, is ever going to protect privacy. Because even if you care about privacy, I think that most of us are not in a position where we're able to explicitly say what it is that we want to safeguard. I think most of us would say that we want to be treated with respect, that we don't want our personal information to be used against us. But we probably cannot articulate any more specific preferences than that. And it makes sense. Our world is complicated. Things should just work. I know that if I drink a glass of water at home, I go to the kitchen, I turn on the faucet, I fill the glass, and I assume the water is safe to drink. You have great water here in Slovenia. I was in my hotel room, there is a sign telling me that the water is not even treated. It comes straight from the Alps. I live in a city where the water does have to be treated. And I do have some confidence that the water board is treating the water. I do not have to opt in to have safer drinking water. I don't have to test the water myself to make sure that the water board hasn't poisoned it today. I operate under the assumption that because there is harm that can arise from the water being poisoned, that the more powerful actor who has the resources to be able to police the water supply is looking out for my interests. And that is what is behind this concept of an information fiduciary. It is the idea that, and the name is more complicated than it really is, but it's the idea that when there is an information asymmetry between two actors, where one actor has more power than the other, then the burden should be on that actor to act in a way that is responsible. And we expect this in so many other industries. We expect this in healthcare. A doctor is expected to look out for the interests of their patients and not to be looking out for their own financial interests. We expect this in legal services. An attorney is expected to look out for their client's interests and not to act in their own financial interests. We expect this in the financial services sector. A client manager is expected to act in the interests of the investor and not in their own personal financial interest. And so that is what this is driving at, this concept of an information fiduciary. So the scholar Jack Balkin has outlined how he believes platforms and the various applications and services that we use today could become these fiduciaries. He's mapped out what responsibilities he believes they should have and how this could be implemented in practice. And there are certainly cases that are easier to solve than others, because the web 2.0 world that we live in today, of course, is a little more complicated than testing water. It is very clear that if water is poisoned, that it presents a real harm to the public. A lot of data protection abuses are not always as apparent. It can be difficult at times to assess the costs and benefits to privacy. There are many instances where it is perfectly okay to a degree, invade one's privacy because it does legitimately offer convenience. I own a cat. If I am targeted to see an advertisement for cat food, the harm there is minimal. But there are also a lot of black and white cases of what are violations of our expectations. The gray area is very minimal. We should not be, for instance, allowing behavioral advertisements that target people or exclude people on the basis of their ethnicity, for instance. We should not be, as Uber did 2 years ago, using data to identify who their regulators were. And so if someone who worked for a competition authority, for instance, they were receiving a premium Uber service over average users, that is not okay. That is a black and white violation of our very reasonable expectations as consumers, as individuals, as ultimately as data subjects. And so this term fiduciary, it sounds complicated, it sounds abstract, but really it is this long-standing common sense notion that, the common sense notion of loyalty. And the question only becomes, what is the duty of care that we are owed? What are the charges that, that platforms, services, applications, the intermediaries that we use owe to us, particularly where there is not a direct financial relationship? Because while, again, issues like water safety can be managed pretty easily, we know, don't poison it, we also know that doctors and lawyers face a lot of gray area as well, and they are able to sort of persevere. A doctor who encounters a patient who refuses medical treatment and has a contagious disease, they are put in a situation when they need to decide, should that patient be able to leave without treatment or follow-up? Lawyers are constantly put in situations, moral and ethical ones, where they need to determine what would be both in their client's interests and in societal's interests, and comply with their own obligations as attorneys. The issue, another issue, of course, is the mosaic effect, that multiple data sets can be combined, and so what may not be personalized information in one data set, when combined with others, may lead to identifiability, and that could be happening across multiple platforms and applications. And so that is a little challenging, but nevertheless, many online practices that are abusive today will simply be black and white breaches of an information fiduciary's duty. As an example, I came here through Google Maps. If Google Maps tells me that the best route to take is not in fact the quickest route, but is a route through which Google is paid a commission to have me walk past a certain restaurant, because if I go inside, they will receive a commission, that is not actually the best route. That is not actually the routing that would be in my interest. Similarly, if Mark Zuckerberg decides on an election day to send notifications or messages to certain voters suggesting that they vote in a certain way or that a polling booth is in a certain location, we can also reasonably say that would not be acceptable behavior. Neither of these things have happened just yet. And so that is why the opportunity is now to start talking about how we can address them before we have these real-life scenarios, before they become political. And so that is what I'm really excited about. This research that has been coming up, you might be wondering how you actually operationalize it. I think about this in the context of through legislation. The GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, will be reviewed next year by various European institutions. This review will take 2 years or so. So I think that there is potentially the opportunity to be trying to insert new language into this regulation to put some responsibilities into effect there. I don't think it will happen though, but I think it's certainly worth trying. I think that self-regulation can possibly address some of these issues if firms structure themselves in ways where they're able to ensure that ethical issues can be raised internally, discussed internally, disclosed externally. I think that could be an approach forward. I think that it's possible that there's something that will happen. And we need to be looking more at how other industries have implemented this. In medicine, it is called, what is it, a just culture. In management consulting, there is the concept of psychological safety that McKinsey and Company has developed. And so all it's about is ensuring that there is a way within organizations where people can comfortably express reservations about the direction that an organization is going in without facing repercussions, without necessarily causing embarrassment or harm to the company either, while simultaneously protecting consumers. And so I think that's really interesting to see if there is going to be any movement towards this happening. I'm quietly confident, or at least hopeful, that that will be the case. Because the problems that we see today, the problems that are arising from our surveillance-heavy digital ecosystem are getting more difficult. They're becoming more ingrained. We need to do something about it. We can't continue to allow these data controllers that are harvesting our personal information to continue to do this. We need to fight back. And so I think it is time for a different approach, a more comprehensive solution, something that appreciates the complexities that are involved in trying to do this, that is geared towards addressing them as they unfold, and it is based upon this idea that consumers have rights, that consumers have a minimum baseline of protection that they should be entitled to, that our personal information should not be harvested against us. And so I'll end here simply with this quote from Jack Balkin, the legal scholar, who says that doctors and lawyers are prohibited from using our personal information for their own interests. So why are Google and Facebook? Thanks very much.
There's got to be at least one question for Aidan.
Maybe there isn't.
Sure it is. One question? Yes? No? Okay. Thank you.
There is a question.
There is a question. Of course it is. Wait. You stand on the stage because you're the speaker. I'll bring the mic around.
Sure.
So it was whether or not you thought the UN guiding principles on business and human rights are relevant here, and if not, why not?
So I'm skeptical about them. Article 19 has done some work. Article 19 is an organization based in the UK that fights for the implementation of human rights, or the embedding of human rights into different fora. And Article 19's digital team has done some work around the fiduciary concept. And they subscribe to the view that yes, they may, that these principles could be helpful. I don't know myself. And so I sort of just put this out there, that I know that there is certainly a view already by, I believe it is Niels Tanover, that yes, these could mesh together well, but I tend not to, in my own work, to look towards any outputs from multilateral institutions like the UN. So I'm probably not the best person to respond to that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no more questions, then I invite you to... What? Is there a question? Sure, yeah.
I hope I'm not going to be the only one asking, but so you come from a Mozilla, right? You're a fellow from Mozilla, and excuse me my ignorance, but Mozilla is a browser. So what can a browser do to protect our privacy, or to shift the attitude that we are having towards how the privacy protection works?
Sure, it's a good question, and the difficulty is that Mozilla is many different things, and so we are a web browser. That is one of Mozilla's consumer-facing products. Mozilla is also both a corporation and a foundation. And so the Mozilla Corporation develops a number of products. including the Firefox web browser, including Pocket and a few other applications that are able to fund essentially good deeds. And so all of the profits that the Mozilla Corporation generates are donated to the Mozilla Foundation, to which we share a logo, to which we share many common interest offices, and so forth. And so I'm a part of the foundation, and so I'm not a part of our products, and I am in the fortunate position to be essentially, and I guess what you would call sort of the think tank arm of the organization, in that I'm fortunate to have the independence to be able to do my research without having to consider the implications for Mozilla's various business units. So there are but to your question as to what a browser can do, while I don't think I am the best person to answer this, I am aware that Mozilla has made a number of public commitments to increasing the privacy protections that are within Firefox. So making sure, and by that I mean making sure that certainly the most common tracking devices are disabled by default, and so that users must go into the settings and configurations to be able to disable that. I don't know if that is actually the case at the moment, or if that is a commitment that will happen over the next year. But I know that is something that has happened recently. Mozilla has also developed extensions like the Facebook container that, if you download it, allow you to prevent Facebook from accessing your personal information when you are not on websites other than Facebook, simply because their code is embedded on so many services. To the broader question of what corporate social responsibility does Mozilla have, there are a lot of questions there. But I think that Mozilla has firmly placed itself in the tech for good camp, and that there is certainly a desire to be able to move products so that they are in the most privacy-preserving manner that is possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If there aren't any more questions, this hopefully should work. Where's the mouse? Okay, just click. Yes. Okay, number 14. Yeah! Okay, here she comes. Congratulations. And one more. Just push. Number 49. 49? Why do we give out these numbers if nobody... Okay, then just try one more. Oh, what? That's you. Congratulations. There you go. Thank you. Okay, bringing out our next... thank you, Aidan.
Thank you.
Bringing out our next speaker, Andrea. The question, which PDF?
Oh, the second one.
The second one, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's working. There you go. So, take it away.
Hello. It really looks like there's some sort of mysterious scheme trying to make me stand in front of you. This is what I'm talking about. So I was supposed to be here last year, and something happened with one of my limbs, and then I didn't make it, and then today I did make it, but my presentation didn't make it, but finally I'm here, and nothing's gonna happen, hopefully, other than me mobilizing you against upload filters. So my name is Andrea, as has been mentioned 3 times tonight. And I'll be talking about content moderation and EU's latest trends in legislating this topic. Basically, I will be focusing a bit more on copyright because it's a very current topic, and I'll be discussing what exactly is the attack on fundamental rights that these upload filter pose. Function. But there are 2. They're not supposed to be 2. One. Yes. Great. It's an adventure, really. Can I? Yes. So, I come from EDRI. European Digital Rights is a NGO, an umbrella of organizations, 39 in this very moment, throughout the EU and outside, some of them internationals. Such as Access Now or Freedom Software Foundation. The NGO has been funded in 2002, and since 2009 we also have an office in Brussels. So our topics that we work with are data protection, surveillance, copyright, freedom of expression, net neutrality. So we're keeping an eye on the laws that the EU is putting forward, and we're trying to protect human rights in the digital sphere. Now, come on, man. Yeah. What's happening with the slides? Domen? There is a, maybe I can put this a bit lower, or anyway, there's some bits of the slides missing that I will try to get over. But the 3 pieces of legislation that I will be hinting today at are the EU revised Audiovisual Media Service Directive that has already been passed, the Terrorist Directive and the EU Terrorist Regulation, as well as the Copyright Directive reform. I'm just going to continue. Yeah. So the trend that has been happening when it comes to EU content regulation is that we're witnessing a shift towards a, in the liability regime. And in translation, what this means is that platforms are made legally responsible for the content that is being uploaded there. So if you're a platform and you allow your users to upload music or video or text or code or audio on it, from now there is this shift that you're being made responsible for what your users are uploading. And in theory, this is all good because it's time for these platforms to actually take this responsibility. But in practice, we soon realize that the burden actually falls on the users and not on the platforms. And I'll be talking a bit how does that happen. The above refers to hate speech, the first one. The second legislative initiatives are referring to terrorist content, and the third, quite indicative, to copyright. So this is what illegal content right now means. Now, the great solution, I'm sorry, this just doesn't work. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. But that doesn't work either. Oh, maybe I'll just do this. Upload filters is the great, spectacular, one-size-fits-all solution that all of those laws or legislative initiatives have in common. So this basically implies a general monitoring obligation on the side of the platform. They will need to proactively prevent that certain content is being uploaded through, obviously, these upload filters. I'm sorry, they call them proactive measures in legal terms. It's basically an algorithm that will filter each and every piece of content and compare it against a database and figure out whether that content is illegal, whether it's copyright infringement, whether it's terrorist content, whether it's hate speech, or depending what the law is about. Well, what's their problem? What's your problem then? Well, there are quite a few problems, but for the sake of this presentation being a short one, I'll just focus on 3 of those. Technically, failure, they're kind of illegal under EU law, and they represent what we like to call privatized law enforcement. I'll just be going a bit into detail with each of them. In an ideal world for these filters, everything would be black and white, so that they can recognize whether content is legal or whether it's illegal. But in the real world, things don't really work like this. There's lots of grays. There are exceptions. There are nuances. There's intent to content. So, for example, if I say clean them all, I might be referring to dishes or to people. An algorithm won't be able to tell what is my intent. Exceptions such as using copyright for educational purposes are another gray. Now, I'll be going through some examples. YouTube took down a 12 seconds video of a cat purring, that sort of purring, under the assumption that it infringed copyright of EMI music. That's some performance, you know. I mean, okay, fail. First fail of the day, not copyrighted. Second fail, NASA. NASA uploaded their moon landing and send it, they recorded it and send it to a TV station. By definition, everything that the agency produces is public domain, right? So it's not copyrighted. But it sent it to a TV station, and that TV station had everything automatically copyrighted and sent to the YouTube content filter as being their own copyrighted content. So when that recording of the moon landing was uploaded on YouTube, YouTube took it down because it thought it belongs to the TV station. It didn't realize that actually it belongs to NASA and everything is public domain by NASA. Now, professor, oh yeah, a professor, failure number 3. A professor, Harvard law professor, was giving a lecture on copyright law. He put up some songs to exemplify what is a copyright infringement, and that whole lecture was being recorded. The recording went on YouTube, and guess what happened? It got taken down because of the example that that professor put in their, gave in their lecture. And the reason is because YouTube did not realize that we're talking here about an exception of copyright from copyright infringement, the educational one. The guy was giving a lecture. That's educational. Now, what's my next slide? Ah, yeah. We're shifting a bit from copyright to terrorist content. This is member of the parliament, Mariette Schaake, who is giving a political discourse, footage of her debate on torture in the European Parliament. Her video also got taken down by YouTube because it allegedly violated community guidelines. They didn't figure the content, the algorithm didn't figure the context of torture chat. They just weren't able to distinguish that she wasn't giving instructions on how to torture people, but rather was having a debate whether that is good or not. Now, moving on to another problem of filters, the fact that they're illegal, the European Court of Justice in the Sabam versus Netlog case actually explained it black on white. A social network cannot be obliged to install a general filtering covering all of its users in order to prevent the unlawful use of musical and audiovisual work. Despite this, we call them proactive measures and automated content means. We don't call them filters, right? And the third thing is that we consider them as being privatized law enforcement. And what privatized law enforcement refers to is basically a shift of responsibility from state as the one responsible for enforcing the law to platforms being made responsible to enforce the law. And automated content filters actually represent the creation of a privatized internet police. To name why this shift in responsibility is problematic, I will just point a bit at the differences in implementing EU law in the separate member states in the EU. In terms of copyright and hate speech, so that I don't speak for the whole night. When it comes to copyright exceptions, I have some interesting figures. Yes, when it comes to copyright exceptions, states are being given flexibility on how to implement these exceptions. So you have 21 exception clauses and the option for reproduction of the piece of the copyrighted material, and you have 21 exception clauses also for the distribution, not only the reproduction. So if you make some calculus, we made some calculus, and we realized that you can get minimum 10 billion different ways of implementing the copyright directive, depending on how to read, how you read Article 5 and Paragraph 4. So there's only use of advertising for the exhibition or sales of works of art. You can see that the different states have different stance on it. I gave another example, use of works of architectures or sculptures in public spaces. France and Italy are actually famous for prohibiting this use, but other countries are not. Use for the purpose of research or private study. We see again like massive disparity between member states. Okay, we move forward from copyright to hate speech. This is a study commissioned by the European Parliament that basically concludes that a lot of disparities can be noticed between national legislation of 10 EU countries that have been compared when it comes to definition of illegal hatred and illegal hatred. So we do not have a unified definition of what is a copyright infringement. We do not have a definition of what is illegal content. But, I mean, it seems that the EU is trying to shift this responsibility in a famous Homer Simpson political slogan, kind of vibe. Can someone else do it? Like, we don't know how to unify these definitions, but let's get the algorithms to unify them. And it really, putting this task on the algorithm of a private big tech giant might or should raise some questions, like maybe some conflict of interests, or I don't know, don't we see? But the Commission itself actually suggests that the quality of the takedowns, the quality of the notices, shouldn't really be a burden, too much of a burden for these companies. So we even get a hint from the Commission on how big tech giants should take their new responsibilities as. And actually, all these takedowns, are they even illegal? Like, okay, we understand that we want to take down illegal content because it's bad, but does anyone check whether they're actually illegal or not? The Commission again said, actually, we don't know how many referrals led to opening an investigation. So, while quite fond of the monitoring of the citizens, The Commission is not so fond of the monitoring of content takedowns. We don't know. Takedowns are legal content, takedowns are illegal content, who cares? Just do it in a Speedy Gonzales kind of style, fast and quick. Now, we have seen that filters fail to recognize what is and what is not copyrighted content. And when they do recognize it, they don't recognize the exceptions, such as educational purposes and parodies. We have seen that they do not recognize political speech and they remove it under the assumption that it is terrorist propaganda. All of these lead to overall content removal. What I actually meant to say is over-removal. Removing more than needed. Platforms will not actually fix this, and out of contrary, they will, because now they're being made legally responsible for the content, they will try to play on the safe side and remove just to be sure, just in case. All of it leads to an imminent attack on our fundamental rights. Freedom of expression, access to knowledge, online privacy. There are high chances, and I will come with examples, that filters can turn any sort of political critique into hate speech, copyright infringement, terrorist propaganda. Filters can be used to simply shut mouths that shouldn't be heard. In Denmark, a NGO did a spoof video of the Social Democrats' plan to tackle immigration. And what the Social Democrats did, they sent them a letter and said, hey, listen, that's copyright infringement. Better take it down, huh? The NGO was like, oh, I don't know, man. Is it? It isn't. We don't have money to check, to hire a lawyer, right? So they took it down. Now, if the upload filter would have been in place at that time, the Social Democrats, they wouldn't have even had to raise a finger. The algorithm would have done the job for them, because the algorithm doesn't recognize parodies. Memes. I'm not going to go too much into detail with memes, but it is pretty much the same idea. The algorithm doesn't recognize it. Spain actually, well, where did I write that? Spain has a filter in place for illegal gambling, and the same filter was actually used to silence the Catalan referendum. So it is a clear example of how filters can change their function according to who is in power. And these filters, Article 13 of the Copyright Directive, that is being discussed right now, have attracted a lot of criticism, from academia to free software supporters, to the UN Special Rapporteur on the right of freedom of expression and access to information, to several NGOs, Tim Berners-Lee, Wikimedia, just a lot of them. Of course, we're all Google paid, mob, blah, 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 blah. But it is worrying. It is worrying because it all starts with copyright, and then it is repurposed. We kept saying last year, and people said, oh, you're paranoid, you're NGO people. And then in September, we saw a terrorist regulation that, guess what, proposed filters. And now we're actually thinking, there's a lot of plans to tackle disinformation and fake news. Do you want to make a bet what they're going to propose? This is why it's so important to think about the filter proposed under the Copyright Directive as a first that has a lot of potential for a lot more. And right now, we are a couple of weeks away from the final vote in the European Parliament. It is throughout the whole procedure of making a law happening, it is the last step that can be influenced. It is going to happen end of March, mid-April, and we have launched a campaign, or a new step of our long, 3 years long campaign. Pledge. Pledge is basically asking your MEPs to pledge that they will vote against Article 13 when their time is going to come. So if you have met your Slovenian representative so far, give them a call. If you haven't, now's the time to get in touch. Thank you, and hashtag save your internet.
Thank you, Andrea. Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, hi. My question is, when you were talking about hate speech and memes, jokes, such stuff, what's your take on the famous legal case back in 2017 when the Scottish citizen Marcus Meechan was prosecuted for making an ironic video of teaching a pug making a Nazi salute? And it's now facing jail time for this.
Right. I'm not aware of the case, but from what I understand, it has been, like his case has not been identified by a filter. It hasn't been like automatically taken down. And I've been talking about hate speech in the context of automated removal. So basically, you risk not even having a human eye looking at that meme, you know? It's just being taken down because the algorithm thinks that is bad. And, you know, we know that hate speech means different things in different places of Europe. I'm Romanian, and if I say something, and I've been living around Europe, and I know that something that I consider controversial is not that controversial in the Western Europe, or the other way around, right? But the question, or the more important thing to think about is, do we want to let a human make that judgment, whether it is hate speech or not, or are we ready to give in that decision to a automated algorithm?
Does the Scottish government have a right to basically jail him for this?
Well, it depends on each national legislation. I told you, I'm not very familiar with the case.
Okay,
but I guess if the law says that this is where our limits are, they make a case out of it. You know?
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, if we think about...
set, yeah.
It isn't. And if we think about what does it mean hate speech in Turkey, and we feed the algorithm that standard, then we will end up with a internet like Turkey's, you know? Like Turkey's, the country, not the birds.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions? No? Okay. I'll go till the back and then I'll come into the front. Hold on. Just wave a little bit so I can see you.
Okay, thank you. I have two short questions. First one, what is the alternative? And what makes a human more objective than a machine? Thank you.
Wow, two short questions, two short answers. The alternative to the copyright or to upload filters in general? Copyright. So when the law went through its amazing bureaucratic slide, at some point it reached the committees in the parliament. And they all came with amendments, they voted whether they agree or not on how the text looked like, and so on and so forth. The IMCO committee, for example, and the LIBE committee, the one on justice affairs, they had alternatives. They had less speedy and less, how to say, technological ones, but they had alternatives. Not analog, but alternatives. Because it was the legal affairs committee, the jury committee that was in charge of all of this, they really didn't want to compromise. Their alternatives focused a bit more on the value gap between artists and YouTube and platforms, and looked a bit more on how remuneration could happen rather than how to stop allegedly copyright infringement. I can't go too much into details because I will I'll stop my yeah. But if you're curious, I can link you some great files of alternatives. And what makes a human more unbiased? Objective, right. Well, the fact that states are made out of humans and that we are expected to trust states to implement our laws, and we think of states as humans. You know, if a police happens to unfortunately, misleadingly hit you in the face, you expect that policeman to suffer some repercussion, right? It is an organ of the state, it did implement the law, but you know, if the law is not implemented correctly, you expect something to happen. But when you're dealing with an algorithm, who do you throw the guilt at if the implementation doesn't happen correctly? On RoboCop? You can't, because RoboCop can't suffer, right? So it's a loss of accountability on the decision making, and we're talking about our laws here. We're talking about the standards of our freedom of expression being put in the business model of big tech. And I think this loss of accountability should be more of a question compared to the bias, because we know that algorithms are biased. So if we already know that algorithms are biased, we already know that humans are biased, so why do we give algorithms the power to make allegedly objective decisions? I think right now the business model of filters is pretty much trying to solve, having the solution and trying to find the problem, basically. We have the solution. AI upload filters, let's feed them. What problem can we solve with them? So we need to change a bit the question.
Okay, there was, yeah, and then.
Basically, you were comparing all the time automated filters and human filters, human-driven filters, so to say. Wouldn't it be best for those two poles to be combined, you know? So, are there any initiatives in this direction?
Well, as I said, some content is obviously illegal. Decapitation does not need human eyes to be categorized as not safe for work to be put on a public platform. But I think the, I don't know if maybe some of you have seen the film The Cleaners. It is about underpaid workers sitting in front of a computer going through horrible content all day long in third world countries, basically. And that is content moderation done by humans only. So maybe the answer is yes, it is through a combination of those, but the humans need to have some sort of preparation in terms, not in legal preparation, but rather not take those decisions pressured by the time or on how many clicks per hour they have to click because that's what they're paid for and so on. So it is trained humans and with a lot of and very accountable algorithms, transparent algorithms. I mean, the discussion on the solution is like I don't feel is deep, and but it definitely should exist. And the problem is that that doesn't exist right now. It is just a force-fed upload filters, fits like one size fits all approach to it. So, thanks.
Yeah, well, I have a comment and a question about it. I think what you mentioned already, we don't have a common definition what's copyright, because we have different exceptions in various countries. We don't have a common definition what is hate speech and so on. And on the other hand, we try to implement an automatic tool to implement what is not. Actually, we don't have any good definition at all. So why should we expect that this filter should work? I mean, this is flawed from design point of view. Yeah. Well, and even if, let's say, maybe, well, I'm not a legal expert. One simple question: if I'm, let's say, Slovenian living in France, posting some content in Sweden, and that seems to be hate speech in Iran, what happens to me? Which court will be?
And that's a very good question. Facebook knows the answer, don't worry. It's all fine. That's a very good comment. And in fact, we're looking at the legal standards, all these different legal standards, basically being equaled to the terms and conditions of the platform. So whatever they think is fine becomes legal for everyone. And whatever they think is not fine becomes illegal. And that's a big issue, I would say, considering they're not that unbiased, these platforms. Yes, yes, but that's not going to happen, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Andrea, again, once again. Now, before you go, we just need you to push one more button. I promise you it's not a filter. Okay, so just this one. Ooh. Okay, 18. Do we have 18? Yeah! Congratulations. Here you go. And press one more. $77? Yeah, congratulations. There you go. Okay, introducing our next speaker in Slovene language, because she's going to be introducing a new language to the crypto party. Pika Šarf iz Inštituta za kriminologijo pri pravni fakulteti. Zdaj samo, da ne rabiš prezentacije revolucionarno. Dobro. Čakaj, če smo že kopirali. Whoa, check you. Ne, no, čak. Evo. Tako in potem slideshow. Evo, Pika, začni. Hvala lepa.
Okay, najprej hvala, Domen, da me tokrat nisi spodil dol, tako kot prejšnjič, in da sem tokrat so zaželjena na odru. Najprej lepo zdrav vsem skupaj. Moje ime je Pika Šarf, prihajam z Inštituta za kriminologijo pri Pravni fakulteti v Ljubljani. Mečkam se bomo oddaljili od te teme, s katero smo se ukvarjali do sedaj. Gremo stran od človekovih pravic na področje delovanja držav. Govorila bomo o digitalnem vohunjenju, o kibernetskem vohunjenju, torej o delovanju držav v kibernetskem prostoru, s katerim pridobivajo informacije od drugih držav. Tale stavek mi je blazno blizu, zaradi tega, ker v navadi, ko začnem govoriti o vohunjenju, si vsi predstavljajo Jamesa Bonda, oziroma neko podobno figuro, ki nekje v tujini se bojuje za pravico v imenu angleške kraljice, pa vendar danes vemo, da vohunjenje zgleda precej drugače. Zanimivo je tudi to, da... Upala, torej ni to, ličken, kje imam pa lučko? Aha, ne, ta izrek je iz leta 90, kar pomeni, da je avtor že leta 90 zelo dobro napovedal, da se bo nekaj v naravi vohunjenja v naslednjih letih močno spremenilo in o tem želim govoriti danes. V prvi vrsti moram poudariti, da vohunjenje pač ni nekaj novega. Velike spremembe so se zgodile s pojavom informacijske komunikacijske tehnologije, to je res, pa vendar večina avtorjev pravi, da je vohunjenje drugi najstarejši poklic, vsi pač vemo, kateri je najstarejši. Po drugi strani uživa vohunjenje v mednarodni skupnosti, zagotovo pa vsaj v mednarodnem pravu, en zelo poseben status. Jaz ne vem za nobeno drugo ravnanje držav, ki bi ga prav vse države izvajale, pa je po drugi strani čist po vseh pravnih redih prepovedano. Torej, nacionalno pravo, kazensko pravo večine držav vohunjenje prepoveduje, ne samo to, za vohunjenje predpisuje zelo visoke kazni. Po drugi strani se tudi vprašate, ok, pa če imamo tako visoke kazni, vse države izvajajo vohunstvo, zakaj? Potem ne slišimo več primerov teh obtožb ali pa sodb zaradi vohunstva, ker vendarle je to nekaj precej zanimivega in bi verjetno mediji o tem poročali. Gre za ravnanje, ki ga države skoraj vedno rešujejo v okviru diplomacije, s tem, da pač se izmenjujejo vohune med seboj, ker je za njih zelo neprijetno, da bi kakšen tak primer prišel pred sodišče in s tem tudi v javnost. Tradicionalno so države vohunjenje izvajale tako, da so pač na ozemlje tuje države poslale svojega agenta, ki je tam izvajal različne aktivnosti in jim posredoval informacije v domovino, ne glede na to, za kakšne informacije je šlo, običajno pa je šlo za bolj politične in vojaške podatke, tajne seveda. Uspešnost držav pa je danes v tem globaliziranem, vedno bolj konkurenčnem okolju pač odvisna od dostopa do informacij. Informacije so v veliki meri javno dostopne, po drugi strani pa imamo tudi nek del informacij, ki je tajnih in vohunjenje je ravno meri oziroma je dejavnost, ki meri na pridobivanje zaupnih gospodarskih, vojaških in drugih podatkov. S pojavom informacijsko-komunikacijske tehnologije v zadnjih 20 letih je prišlo do novega razcveta vohunstva. Nekateri ga zato imenujejo to dobo že zlata doba vohunstva. Države namreč na tuje ozemlje ne potrebujejo več pošiljati svojih agentov, ker jim internet ponuja to orodje, ki mu omogoča oddaljen dostop do podatkov, ki je poleg tega še bolj ali manj anonimen. Verjetno se sprašujete, ok, pa kako je lahko anonimen, saj vsi vemo, da na internetu pač nisi anonimen, vsak pušča neke sledi. V skladu s pravili mednarodnega prava, pa sem se skušala tega dela čim bolj danes izogniti, da vas ne dolgočasim z pravom v petek zvečer, je dejanje držav zelo težko v kibernetskem prostoru zelo težko pripisati državi. Seveda lahko ugotovimo običajno, za katerega posameznika ali pa saj iz katere države prihajajo te napadi, zelo težko pa je dejansko na podlagi pravil mednarodnega prava ugotoviti oziroma pripisati to ravnanje državi. Poleg tega, da je v zadnjih vohunjenje države izvajajo pač na različne načine. Po eni strani lahko dostopajo do oziroma lahko zlorabljajo oziroma napadajo infrastrukturo, ki je na ozemlju tuje države, ali pa izrabljajo oziroma napadajo oziroma neke backdoore montirajo na infrastrukturo, ki se nahaja na ozemlju njihove države. In v tem primeru imajo precej veliko prednost države na ozemlju, v katerih se nahajajo te pomembno internetno omrežje, ker pač internet ni nekje v zraku, ampak ima svojo infrastrukturo in njen ključen del je tako imenovana internetna hrbtenica oziroma internetni backbone. In v Evropi imata predvsej poseben položaj, saj po mojih podatkih Nemčija in Velika Britanija. Nemčija zaradi tega, ker je na njenem ozemlju veliko teh jedrnih usmerjevalnikov oziroma teh križišč internetne hrbtenice. Po drugi strani pa Velika Britanija je kraj, kamor pride glavno to internetno omrežje oziroma glavni backbone iz Združenih držav Amerike. Kar sta ZDA in Velika Britanija z pridom izkoriščale, verjetno ni treba posebej opisovati dogodkov, ki nam jih je razkril Edward Snowden leta 2013. Takrat je celoten svet izvedel za tako imenovane sisteme množičnega nadzora Tempora, Prism, Echelon, mislim, da je vsaj še en, ki sta jih izvajala Združene države Amerike skupaj z Veliko Britanijo na podlagi nekaterih dogovorov, ki so pa stari že, oziroma ki datirajo iz obdobja takoj po drugi svetovni vojni. In sicer gre za, to sta dejansko prvi strani teh dveh pogovorov, to je Brusa, drugi je pa UK-USA agreement, za katere se je zelo dolgo časa ugibalo, a dejansko sploh obstajata. Leta 2010 sta dejansko NSA in GCHQ potrdila, da ta dogovor med Združenimi državami Amerike in Veliko Britanijo dejansko obstaja. Že od leta 1946 si na podlagi teh dveh dokumentov izmenjujejo podatke. Zdaj pa jih zelo prijazno delijo še z drugimi prijatelji iz skupine Five Eyes. To so angliško govoreče države ZDA, Velika Britanija, Kanada, Avstralija in Nova Zelandija. Še tako prikladno podobne zastave imajo. Poleg tega, da se je vohunstvo danes preselilo v kibernetski prostor, se je zgodil še en zelo pomemben premik. In sicer od političnega in vojaškega vohunstva se države vedno bolj zavedajo, da je njihova stabilnost, njihova pomembnost v svetu odvisna od ekonomskih informacij, spravo informacij, ki se nanašajo na njihovo ekonomijo. In to zavedanje držav o pomenu ekonomskih informacij se je začelo krepiti po koncu druge svetovne vojne. S koncem druge svetovne vojne je pač povezana utoplitev med Zahodom in Vzhodom, s tem povezan vzpon mednarodnega trga, s tem so se začeli graditi pomembnost ekonomije oziroma gospodarstva in države so se kar naenkrat začele zavedati tega, da je potrebno zbirati tudi podatke, ki niso samo politični in vojaški, ampak so pomembni zaradi nekih drugih strateških vzrokov in sicer ključni so za delovanje in poslovanje njihovih podjetij in prispevajo k ekonomski stabilnosti države. Poleg tega so zelo lepo izkoristile to pravno podhranjenost tega področja. V mednarodnem pravu že vohunstvo ni natančno definirano, niti ne vemo zares, ali je prepovedano ali ne, tako da države to s pridom izkoriščajo in predvsem v zadnjih 20 letih se je to početje izredno razpaslo. Tako kot se je vohunstvo tradicionalno, to politično večino danes izvaja v kibernetskem prostoru, tako se je tudi ekonomsko kibernetsko vohunstvo pač preselilo v zadnjih 10 letih v kibernetski prostor. Coca-Cola, Google, Yahoo so verjetno podjetja, ki vsi poznamo in ki so javno priznala, da so bile tarče kibernetskih napadov strani drugih držav. Po drugi strani pa smo lahko prepričani v to, da jih je mnogo več tam zunaj, ki pa pač ne bodo nikoli priznali, da so bili napadeni, zaradi tega, ker v prvi vrsti lahko sploh ne vejo, da so postali tarče ekonomskega kibernetskega vohunstva ali pa morda to zelo dobro vejo, pa tudi zelo dobro skrivajo. Tretji premik, o katerem želim govoriti, in tukaj se bom mogoče še najbolj dotaknila teme, ki prežema to današnje predavanje, je zlata doba open source intelligence. Ko govorimo o vohunjenju, vedno govorimo, oziroma saj običajno imamo v mislih to pridobivanje tajnih podatkov. Ampak dejstvo je, da države večino, tudi obveščevalne službe držav, večino svojega dela opravijo na javno dostopnih podatkih. Tudi tukaj ni to nič novega, tako kot ni vohunstvo popolnoma nič novega, skozi celotno zgodovino so države izkoriščale javno dostopne podatke. Primer je znan med drugo svetovno vojno, so Združene države Amerike in zavezniki imeli hude težave z ugotavljanjem števila žrtev na nemški strani in potem so na neki točki ugotovili, da to lahko zelo dobro ugotovijo s prebiranjem časopisov, ki so bili dostopni v nevtralni Švici. Torej, nemški časopisi, ki so izhajali v Švici, so jim dali nek vpogled v število žrtev na nasprotnikovi strani. Še v večjem obsegu se je zbiranje teh javno dostopnih informacij razpaslo v času hladne vojne. V tem času so Združene države Amerike ustanovile agencijo, za katero jaz sicer nisem do današnjega predavanja nikoli slišala, ampak imenuje se Foreign Broadcast Monitoring Service, katera edina naloga je bila, da nadzoruje oziroma prebira vsa mogoča obvestila oziroma vse mogoče podatke, ki prihajajo iz vzhodnega bloka. Torej, njihova naloga je bila, da poslušajo radijske postaje, televizijske postaje in poskušajo iz podatkov, ki jih tam dobijo, ugotoviti karkoli uporabnega. Žal niso bili pretirano uspešni, predvsem zaradi tega, ker tudi tiste podatke, ki so jih dobili, jim niso zaupali, ker če so ruski, potem verjetno ni res. Niso resnični. Ta agencija v strukturi Združenih držav Amerike je bila ukinjena leta 2005, verjetno ni treba posebej poudarjati, kaj je bil razlog za to. V prvi vrsti so imeli enostavno kar naenkrat preveč dela. Število njihovih poročil oziroma število informacij, ki so jih do takrat zbirali, je postala ob prelomu tisočletja popolnoma neobvladljiva, zato so jih kmalu po letu 2000 ukinili. Dejstvo je, da od leta 2005 do danes število podatkov oziroma količina podatkov v našem okolju nikakor ne pada. Zavedamo se, da živimo v družbi velikega podatkovja. Vsako leto proizvedemo vedno večje število podatkov, ampak danes imamo orodja, o katerih je govorila tudi moja predhodnica, ki nam omogočajo avtomatizirano obdelavo teh podatkov. In danes lahko s pomočjo algoritmov, s pomočjo umetne inteligence zelo dobro obdelamo velike količine podatkov, ki so dostopni. In prvič v zgodovini človeštva živimo v resnici v družbi, v kateri ni več skrivnosti. Živimo v svetu, kjer je vse na voljo. Vprašanje pa je, oziroma večjo težavo imamo s prepoznavanjem resničnosti podatkov, ki so nam na voljo. Ti javno dostopni podatki se lahko izkažejo kot blazno pozitivni in blazno uporabni. So pa zelo dvorezen meč. Zavedati se je treba, da bolj digitalizirana kot je družba, več podatkov kot obdelamo, več podatkov tudi dajemo. In ta pozitivna uporaba se je pokazala, en primer, ki je meni zelo ljub, se je zgodil leta 2017 in sicer pred Mednarodnim kazenskim sodiščem, to je sodišče, ki skrbi za to, da so najhujši zločinci zločinov proti človeštvu kaznovani za res tiste najhujše zločine, genocid, vojne, poboje in podobno, je obsodila libijskega državljana prvič v zgodovini na podlagi izključno in samo dokazov, ki so jih pridobili na socialnih omrežjih. Nažalost je bil, oziroma na našo srečo je bil ta posameznik tako neumen, da je na Facebook objavil kar nekaj filmčkov raznih izvensodnih pobojev, mučenj in podobnega in na podlagi filmčkov, ki jih je sam objavil in ki so jih kasneje objavili tudi njegovi pajdaši, so lahko ne samo ugotovili, kaj se je dogajalo, ampak po drugi strani tudi dejansko potrdili avtentičnost teh posnetkov, ki bi se sicer lahko izkazali kot problematični v kazenskem postopku. Drug primer, za katerega pa sami presodite, ali je ta uporaba podatkov pozitivna ali ne, glede na vaše stališče do ameriške zunanje politike na Bližnjem vzhodu. Od leta 2018 v ameriški vojski velja popolna, a se da to luč malo ugasniti? V ameriški vojski velja popolna prepoved uporabe vseh aplikacij, ki razkrivajo geolokacijske podatke. Kaj je bil razlog, oziroma kaj je bil povod za to? Ameriška vojska ima kar nekaj tajnih oporišč po celem svetu, seveda veliko teh oporišč je na Bližnjem vzhodu. Vojaki so v svojem prostem času z veseljem uporabljali aplikacijo Strava. Športniki verjetno poznate to zadevo, gre pa za aplikacijo, na kateri deliš s svojimi prijatelji oziroma z drugimi uporabniki te aplikacije svoje tekaške poti, kolesarske poti, skratka, kaj počneš. Aplikacija pač treka vaše gibanje, sledi vašemu gibanju. Ko se sredi Kabula kar naenkrat začnejo pojavljati številne aktivnosti sredi enega čist neposeljenega območja in podobno, je zelo hitro jasno, da se tam nekaj dogaja. Če kar naenkrat zgine oziroma ni dostopna slika na Google Mapsa tega področja, vam je hitro jasno, da je tukaj v ozadju neka vojaški, da so v ozadju vojaški cilji. Ni trajalo dolgo, da so odkrili kar nekaj vojaških oporišč Združenih držav Amerike in Američani so imeli hude težave, da so jih dejansko zavarvali. Od takrat naprej Američani oziroma ameriška vojska ne uporablja več Strave. Kar pa mene najbolj fascinira, ko govorimo o vohunstvu, je to, da po eni strani danes dejansko živimo v družbi, kjer je težko še karkoli skriti. Po drugi strani pa postajamo vedno bolj obsedeni z zasebnostjo in varstvom osebnih podatkov. Pa vendar, odkar nas je Facebook leta 2006 prvič vprašal What's on your mind, objavimo 500.000 komentarjev, 450.000 slik in približno 293.000 statusov vsako minuto. Zavedati se moramo, da so podatki orožje v naših rokah in v znanju je moč, v podatkih je moč in države se tega zelo dobro zavedajo, predvsem pa to zelo s pridom izkoriščajo. Hvala.
Kakšno vprašanje za Piko? Roke? Ne? Ja? Aha, ok, čakaj.
Kako pa poteka oblike vohunjenja? Pravzaprav, jaz sem zasledil en članek enkrat na MMC Slovenija, da večino vohunjenja, tudi tega računalniškega, sploh ne poteka to zelo prek interneta, ampak kar iz recimo 300 do 500 metrov oddaljenih stavb. In da pravzaprav se je bistveno lažje povezati na računalnik, ker recimo ti imaš nekaj protokole, recimo strogo tajni podatki zagotovo niso na spletu dostopni, tudi v posebni sobi so, v tej posebni sobi je še, bi rekel, določena pregrada in tam je računalnik enot v sefu, tako da res strogo tajni podatki se hranijo tako da me zanima, če mogoče veš kaj več.
Ampak kako bi pa potem te podatke dobil iz 3 stavb stran? Mislim, ne razumem čisto dobro tehnično, kako bi se to dali izvesti. Jaz vem za primere, ko so se trudili oziroma ko države skušajo prodreti v te notranje bable državne infrastrukture. Primer je bil recimo Stuxnet, ki sicer ni primer kibernetskega vohunjenja, ampak je pač kibernetski napad, ki že meji na kibernetsko vojno, ki so ga izvedle verjetno Združene države Amerike skupaj z Izraelom. Tukaj mora biti človeški faktor, sigurno. Ja, ker pač rabiš nekoga, da prenese, ne vem, okužen USB ključ na ta računalnik. Definitivno. Najbolj skriti podatki so izključeni iz interneta, definitivno.
Hvala.
Preden greš, Pika, sam še izžrebaš pred zadnje srečne dobitnike. Evo. Samo, ok. Sorry. 27? Ja? Hvala lepa. Evo, aplauz. Takole. Pa še enega. 33. Preventivno, prihaja, dobro, evo. Izvoli, hvala lepa. Ok, hvala lepa, Pika. Zdaj pa bi predstavil še zadnjega govorca. Tokrat spet tema, ki smo jo lansko leto oziroma so nas lansko leto spraševali, kako imate lahko kriptoparti brez kriptovalut, ne, pa jim je bilo zelo težko razložiti, da mi to delamo že od leta 2015, da kriptovalute so pa tam bile 2 meseca v 2017, ampak kot že rečeno, predstavljam zadnjega govorca, Ignac Lesar iz podjetja Palmabot, se bo ukvarjal oziroma bo v svojem predavanju razmišljal ali pa, kako se temu reče, se upa, da ne sam s sabo pogovarjal o pravnih vidikih digitalne identifikacije oziroma, kot se tehnično z full angleškimi izrazi reče, problemi KYC-a na kriptoborzah oziroma na kriptomenjalnicah. Evo, izvoli.
Ko je Palmabot. Evo, se bo. Tegale. Ok, najprej tegale. No, se bomo zadovoljili s tole slikco. Kdo med vami bi si želel imeti vsaj nekaj denarja? Kdo med vami se ne želi imeti denarja? Okay. Kdo med vami bi rad takoj uredil identiteto, da ni treba čakati 2 uri na upravni enoti? Kdo med vami je tak, bi čakal? Ok, ne. No, tako kot ta vprašanja, pravzaprav tudi digitalna identiteta obstaja. Vprašanje digitalne identitete je nekoliko bolj povezan z razumevanjem področja kripto sveta. Če recimo postrežem s podatkom, da so v zvezni ameriški državi Wyoming sprejeli paket zakonov, kjer so izenačili plačevanje s kriptovalutami in fiat valutami, potem nam to pove, da se na tem področju nekaj resnega dogaja. V preteklosti je bilo na tem področju veliko nezaupanje, ker je tam konc leta 2017 in pa v začetku leta 2018 počel balon in se je, glej ga zlomka, iz $20,000 na potem 8, 10, 12, danes je 3,800. Ja, to področje je marginalizirano zaradi tega, ampak dogaja se, da se skuša to urediti v zakonodajne okvire. Posledično se to kaže na ekonomske učinkovitosti. Vse pa ekonomske učinkovitosti za sabo potegne tudi socialno pravičnost. No in zdaj recimo vprašanje, kaj se vam zdi? Digitalen pa kriptosvet bolj ekonomsko učinkovit ali bolj socialno pravičen? Ok, meni se zdi bolj ekonomsko učinkovit, ampak ob predpostavki, da razumemo pač trgovanje in mehanizem trga. Na drugi strani pa pravzaprav digitalna identiteta oziroma sploh identiteta predstavlja velik problem, ker od 7 milijard zemljanov, dejansko 2 milijardi zemljanov sploh nima identitete, ne samo digitalne, ampak nobene. To pa predstavlja problem za pravno državo, za socialno državo, skratka za neko urejeno družbo, pa na koncu tudi večjo svobodo, varnost, skratka vse institucije, ki jih imamo. No, identiteta je nasplošno urejena v mednarodnih aktih in tudi v državnih, deklaracija o človekovih pravicah na mednarodnem nivoju in na ustava oziroma državnem ustava Republike Slovenije. Zdaj je tako, že od samih začetkov civilizacij so se dogajali popisi prebivalstva, ker to pač omogoča določen nadzor, ne? In posamezniki imamo zagotov pač z nadzorom problem. Ampak, a ni dober pravzaprav prijeti v tak prostor, ki je ogrevan, ki je osvetljen, ki vemo, ki imamo dejansko toplo nam je, fajn. No, in to je to, ne? To je pravzaprav naš pojem svobode. Seveda radi gremo tudi v naravo, ampak po noči nas ne sme zepsta, ne? Tako da ja, registracija prebivalstva se je pol začela dogajati na nivoju izdaje listin. Vsak je dobil pač neko listino, pojavljale so se prve potne listine, ampak ta sistem registracije je bil kar problematičen. Pač ni bilo nekih zaščitnih tehnologij, tako da recimo še med drugo svetovno vojno se je zelo lahko dal neko listino dobiti za ta prav denar. Pa si pol potoval, pa skratka si imel štempelj. No, kakorkoli, čez čas se je tehnologija razvila in prišlo je do osebnih izkaznic. Te so tudi pravzaprav nadomestile v mednarodnem prometu legitimacijo, to se pa seveda na račun izboljšane tehnologije. No in pravzaprav naslednji korak v identiteti je pa digitalna identiteta. Zdaj, digitalna identiteta je danes problematična, predvsem zato, ker ni ustrezne zakonodaje, tudi v Sloveniji. V Nemčiji sicer obstaja, tako da jaz bi rekel tako malo predrzno, da se je zaradi tega Nemčija tudi izognila recesiji, trenutno, no, vse kaj še bo, bomo videli, ampak enostavno, bi rekel, popolna identifikacija omogoča celostno poslovanje v pravnem prometu. Kaj to pomeni? Vse od urejanja raznih dovoljenj do podpisovanja pogodb do skratka popolna legitimacija je mogoča. Zdaj pa, ja, digitalna identiteta je sestavljena kako pravzaprav? Zagotovo iz več faktorjev, ker pravzaprav današnje digitalne identitete izgledajo tako, da imaš ti neko uporabniško ime, potem geslo, potem imaš recimo še tudi ta 2FA, two-factor authentication, ki imaš nek generator gesel, kod 6-mestnih, ki se menava na 30 sekund. Potem pa ja, potem imaš lahko še kakšna varnostna gesla, pa tako naprej, ampak to vse ne omogoča pravzaprav popolno identifikacija posameznika. Lahko je zatem čist druga oseba, organizacija, kdorkoli. Tako da tle so potem tudi odprta vrata terorizmu in tako naprej. Popolna digitalna identiteta bi izgleda, spet bi rekel tako malo vizionarsko mogoče, sestavljena iz, se pravi, nekih podatkov, ki so pa zakodirani ali pa recimo še ne enkriptirani, ampak skratka v neki obliki so, da če nimaš pravega enkripcijskega procesa, se ne moreš legitimirati. Tako da enkripcijski proces je ta drug in ta tretji so pa biometrične lastnosti. Zdaj recimo jaz, evo, glih včeraj sem šel tlele na upravno enoto in tam čakam se, 2 uri, koliko pa ne, to je pač standard. In pridem na vrsto v čakalnico, skratka, in tam ena luštna gospodična, ja, no, fajn, skratka, boste to podpisal, pogledam, podpis, ja, fajn, elektronski, reče, no, zdaj pa še prstni vtisi. Rekel, to me pa veseli. Pa je rekla, joj, to ste pa eden redkih, ki je veseli. Ljudje so tako zelo zadržani, skratka, ne marajo dajati podpisov, odtisov, se pravi fingerprintov. No in skratka, pravzaprav države že zbirajo bazo podatkov za ustanavljanje digitalne identitete. Tako da zadnji faktor ali pa pač eden izmed faktorjev je pa neka biometrična lastnost in prstni odtisi so zelo dobro razviti, ne? Ker recimo kazenska evidenca, kako funkcionira na nivoju EMŠA, ne? In tam vtipkaš not EMŠO posameznika, zdaj pa tujc, tudi če recimo je obsojen, on EMŠO pač ima, ki ga ima, si spremeni ime, priimek, podatke v tujini in pol pride s temi podatki sem in to ni več ista oseba. Čim imaš pa prstni vtis, je pa to. Tako da toliko glede varnosti. No, je pa potem na drugi strani pa neroden, ker to so pa spet neke administrativne ovire in ves razvoj vseh teh programov in tako naprej. Tako da mi v Palmabotu si pa prizadevamo, da sicer bi bilo avtomatično področje urejeno tako, kot je prav, pa skratka strogo, pa varnostno, ampak potem nadaljna uporaba svoje identitete pa ne sme biti toliko zapletena. In to je mogoče prek tako imenovanih API ključev, Application Programming Interface, se pravi nek umestnik, ki pravzaprav upravlja s tvojimi podatki. Poleg tega pa omogočamo hrambo na lastni napravi. Zdaj, digitalna identiteta ima sicer ta pomanjkljiva, ne popolna, ima že zgodovino tam okoli leta 1980, pa tako naprej, neki so pol skušali z elektronskim podpisom rešiti, ampak to ni identiteta, to je sam podpis. Tako da potem se je zdaj v zadnjem času pojavil, da je prišlo do tako imenovano samoupravne identitete, self-sovereign identity. In to je na posamezniku potem, da pove, koliko podatkov želi dati ven. In tudi vse podatke hram pri sebi, s tem, da spet podarjam. Nek center vedno mora biti, tako da centralizirano hranjenje podatkov do določene mere je vedno utemeljeno, ampak ne pa to, kakor se zdaj dogaja, da pravzaprav na vsako platformo, ki se prijaviš, ti daš svoje podatke. In vsi pravzaprav upravljajo s temi podatki in na eni strani bi bile tle manjše zlorabe, na drugi strani skratka manj podatkovja in tako naprej, ne bi se jim bilo treba s tem tako imenovanim know your customer sistemom ukvarjati. No, drugače pa ja, Palmabot, takole luškan robotek, se pač ukvarja z trgovanjem na kriptovalutah, povezuje med sabo različne borze oziroma platforme, sporoča signale, skratka taka luštna zadeva. Tako da, ja, čakajte, da še malo pogledam, še kaj bi povedal, drugače pa sem več ali manj zaključil. To je to. Evo, ja, mogoče, no, tako bom rekel. Pri hranjenju podatkov so na eni strani varnostni razlogi, pa pač res neka urejenost družbe. Ker vi si zdaj predstavljate, pač se točno to se zgodi, nekdo se z lažno identiteto predstav in tudi on se lahko gre usest, bi rekel, v zapor. Tako v njemu to ni problem, pa tega sodišče ne ve, pa tako naprej. In to so neki razlogi varnosti. Pač v ustreznih postopkih je treba posameznika identificirati, drugače kaos. Na drugi strani pa neka res pravica do zasebnosti, ker o nam pravzaprav zbirajo čisto vse možne podatke in tako, recimo, da se mi zdaj v tem trenutku ne zavedamo, da pravzaprav so nam namestili nek program na računalnik, čistko, ki zbira v nas podatke in čez 3 leta ima recimo neko aktivacijsko dobo in takrat nam bo pobral vse podatke. Tako da to mislim pa, da z neko decentralizirano hrambo podatkov bi se dalo to narediti. Tako da, ok, hvala.
Še kakšno vprašanje za zadnjega gosta? Ja, ok.
Ja, ok, zdaj. No, ok. Palma ima zdaj tudi na Telegramu bota, ne?
Ja.
Mene pa v bistvu zanima, katere podatke vi pa sploh hranite? Ker na Telegramu načeloma je kar dosti podatkov. A kaj hranite, vidite, obdelate kakšne te podatke?
Ja, zdaj treba v bistvu razlikovati, kjer podatke o nas hrani Telegram, pa kjer podatke mi hranimo. Telegram ima pač nek chat ID, pa skratka neke lastnosti, ki smo jih mi noto tipkali, medtem, ko Palmabot pa tega ne drži, zaradi tega, ker dela prek pravzaprav enega browserja, no, se je tako podoben, Mozilla ali pa Google, in potem ti pravzaprav na svoji lokalni napravi to hraniš, ne. In recimo ta hramba je zakaj zanimiva, ker pol tudi ti, ki imaš nek podatkovni promet, dobro, to so pač kriptovalute, v našem primeru si ti kot zelo majhen del, zelo majhen člen si nezanimiv za spletne napade, ne, ker spletni napadi se zgodijo tam, kjer je ogromen pretok podatkov na točno določenem stičišču in tam obstaja velika verjetnost, da se bo kaj koristnega dobil, ne. Tako vsak posameznik pa pač lahko ohrani podatke pri sebi in potem ni zanimiv, ne. Tako da recimo v zgodovini je bilo več, bi rekel, tudi poskusov, kako bi pravzaprav in digitalno identiteto in hrambo podatkov organizirali in pa so poskušali čist centralizirano, so videli, da ne bo, pa so imeli tako nek tak federativni model, da so pač sam na točno določenih mestih, pa so pol dobili neke oligopole ven, pa so se oni med sabo zmenili, so spet zlorabljali lahko te podatke, pa so probali pa tudi s tem, bi rekel, čistim decentraliziranim, ampak tle je bil pa problem, da so imeli pa premalo podatkov. In pol je vsak posameznik mogel ne vem koliko podatkov dobiti ne vem kje. Tako da recimo Palmabot, on zajema podatke iz določenih borz in tako naprej, ne? Ampak prek, pač bi rekel, API ključa, skratka ima pa Palmabot pač tudi level 4 security, 4. stopnja, tako da ta 5. je pa pač ta zadnja, tako da to je pa ne vem, laboratorij inženirjev, tako da tam še nismo, pa bomo.
Hvala.
Ja.
Hvala, Ignacu. S tem smo tudi zaključili uraden del Cryptopartija. Hvala, ker ste ostali do konca, oziroma hvala, ker ste ploskali po vsakem predavatelju, predavateljci. Ne id domov, odzadje je hladilnik, tam je en papir, logistika je, vzameš nekaj iz hladilnika, napišeš, kaj si vzel iz hladilnika na papir in se potem pogovarja z ljudmi, ki bi ti znali kaj zanimivega povedati. For those of you who speak only English, the official part of the Cryptoparty is over. Now the unofficial part begins. Stick around, mix with people and talk to people you want to talk to about stuff you want to talk to. Thanks for coming and we'll see you all next year. Bye.